Hey there, it's Valerie from Autistic Interpretations. I'm working on answering some questions that I've been collecting for probably a couple of years. Here's the next one I'm going to answer. Someone's asking about my kids, all of them. What did I do when they were younger to teach them to support Jess? Were there certain things that I wouldn't let them do until they got older? Did I always involve them in whatever I did? Let me address this question by first of all saying I've always felt like a complete failure when it comes to managing my other children and Jess. I don't feel like I did a good job, although they're very successful adults and we have a very close family still. We all still like getting together and hanging out and having family game night when everybody's in town. When my kids were younger, I was so overwhelmed with every aspect of my life. Every day was about getting through the day. There wasn't a lot of forethought. There wasn't a lot of planning. There wasn't, this is what I need to teach these two. This is what I need to teach that one. This is how they can do that. I had ongoing guilt about my inability to manage things day to day. That's just the honest truth about how it was. My middle child struggled the most out of all three of them, especially when he was much younger. He struggled with understanding why he couldn't get away with the same type of behaviors that Jessica got away with. And so that's a perception issue, but I was completely unaware of that at the time. I just learned that this year in a very frank conversation about things. Those two, the middle child and Jessica, fought like typical siblings. I mean, wrestling matches, screaming. There was no special treatment one way or the other. It was just a lot of times all out war. And a lot of times it wasn't. The two youngest ones were very close. They were close in age. They played together, spent a lot of time together watching videos. And I think that was the majority of that's my perception, is that the majority of their younger times was with each other, having pretend play, imagination. I mean, they seemed to be doing fine. They got along fine. Where I feel like a failure too is that instead of teaching the other two how to help Jess, I also failed to teach them to help themselves in some ways. All the things Jess needed help with carried over to what I did for the other two. So I did more for them than I should have because I was doing for her. And since she was my oldest and I was young, I didn't have a perception of what the other two should be doing when. So they're kind of spoiled at this point. None of them like to get their hands dirty. They don't like to wash dishes and get their hands wet. It's a sensory issue, but I blame myself mostly for that. So that was a long answer. The short answer to the question was I didn't teach them anything at any particular time in terms of having them do it sooner or later. I really never asked them to help me with her, probably guilt, but I never really taught them to help me with her, and part of that is because I was still trying to teach her to do for herself and be independent. If I were to do it over, I would probably do it a little different. I would have a little more conversation or just make sure that I understood the younger children's perception of things. Whereas I didn't realize that perception was happening when it was. Another part of the question was, did I ever ensure that Hannah and Madison got a break from Jessica, or just because of her needs being so great? And the answer to that is no. I never did that. It just was never a thing. Like I said previously, my goal every day was to get through the day and to get in bed at the end of the day. And being so overwhelmed with so much to do, and I was a full-time homemaker. Buying groceries was a huge chore. Everything was a huge chore every day. It just was. That's my memory of life when they were little. Every day was hard. And that's all I can remember, is that it was hard and we just got through every day. I would like to say that I parented my younger ones well and gave them opportunities and space and all that, but no. They had plenty of space in the house. We had a house that had plenty of space for them to go off on their own, but I didn't have enough resources to make those special occasions. I had mental health issues when they were little. I was depressed a lot for a long time. And I still take medication for depression and probably always will. The question also included about older children. So when there's a gap and you have older children, older teenagers, and the younger children, and there's sometimes this crossover of parenting. And I did experience that with Hannah as an older teenager and beyond. Hannah and I had some conflicts because she wanted to parent Jessica when I was home. And Hannah would be offended when I didn't go along with everything she said when I was home and Hannah was trying to parent. And I finally just had to say to her that one day, look, when I'm here, I'm the parent. And if I don't agree with what you're saying or wanting to do, then I'm going to say so. When I'm not here, you're the boss. And Jessica understands that that's the case. But if I'm home and I have a difference of opinion on something, then I feel like as the parent, it's my right to say so and interject or disagree as I see fit. If you have any more questions about this topic, please send me an email. Val@autisticinterpretations.com is the best way for me to keep up with questions rather than direct messages because they get lost. Was not a super mom, for sure. I was a good mom, not a super mom. Thanks for the question, Mama Miller.